Hello, and thank you for joining us. You're watching Newsroom series on Channels Television. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Our focus today is on the Southeast region, but first, our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has called on all stakeholders in Saturday's Edo State governorship election to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. In a statement issued by his special advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, the president implores the governorship candidates, political parties, and supporters to respect the democratic process and the people's will. He emphasizes that democracy thrives on civility, tolerance, patience, and respect for the rules of the game, as he notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has committed to conducting a free and fair election. President Tinubu urges all stakeholders to work together to ensure a successful and peaceful process, saying he believes in the voters' ability to make informed decisions about their future leaders. Ahead of the Edo governorship election, the Nigeria Police has announced restriction of movement between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. in Edo State. The Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumoyiwa Adejobi, made this announcement during a press briefing in Edo State. He says only essential workers for the exercise will be allowed to move around freely. He also appealed to citizens to desist from sending false messages to the police while the governorship exercise is ongoing.
The Inspector General of Police has ordered the restriction of all vehicular movement on roads, waterways, and other forms of transportation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day. That is tomorrow, Saturday, 25th September 2024. Exemptions will be given for essential services, including accredited media, electoral officials, and emergency responders. To maintain the integrity of the electoral process, the IGP has implemented a ban on all security aids and escorts accompanying VIPs to polling booths and collation centers. Unauthorized security personnel and quasi-security outfits are prohibited from operating during the election, and the use of sirens by unauthorized vehicles is strictly forbidden to ensure a calm environment for voters and, of course, to have a seamless electoral process. The Inspector General of Police, through the Deputy Inspector General of Police for Edo gubernatorial election, DIG Frank Emeka Mbaimenai, has appealed to citizens to refrain from making prank calls to control rooms and designated help numbers, highlighting that text messages are more effective for operational purposes. The designated election lines for inquiries and reporting are 070 25 000 383. I take it again. 070 25 000 383 and 090 85 00 0029. I take that one again. 090 85 00 0029. While the general control room numbers are 080 77 773 721.
In Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has commenced the first batch of distribution of science laboratory equipment to public secondary schools across the state. This is part of activities to optimize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM education in Anambra. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Chukwu-Ibezim, who represented the governor at the event, emphasizes the essence of a transition to a digital world, highlighting that digitization is fundamentally linked to science and technology, which has prompted the government to intervene and improve in the science education of secondary schools.
The flag-off of the optimization of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics event through the distribution of science equipment takes place at the Capital City Secondary School, Awka, Anambra State, and upon the arrival of the Deputy Governor, who is representing Professor Chukwuma Soludo, the reason for the gathering is highlighted by the Chairperson, Post-Primary Service Commission, PPSC.
STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. STEM education is the in thing now in the global world. Countries all over the world are keen into STEM education because it has so many benefits, which includes it fosters creativity in the lives of the students. It teaches collaboration. It develops critical thinking, among other benefits. Today, we'll never remain green in the minds of the students, teachers, and principals of secondary school in Anambra State. This is because the world is rapidly changing, and science and technology advancements have become a significant aspect of our daily lives. It is therefore crucial that we prepare the students to embrace and utilize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in their everyday activities.
Various science laboratory equipment acquired by the state government, intended for distribution to the first 60 schools included in the initial phase of the project, are already on ground. Addressing the students, teachers, and other relevant stakeholders at the function, the Deputy Governor provides the assurance that the state government's initiative will continue until all public secondary schools in the state are adequately equipped with essential science laboratory equipment, thereby ensuring quality education for science students.
The world is going digital. Economy everywhere, we are talking of blue economy. Without technology, you can't go anywhere. And that's why we need to build our school system strongly in science, in engineering, in technology, and of course mathematics. I know it could be quite expensive going into science education, but we cannot do without it. If we don't develop our science education, the world will leave us behind, and humanity.
The STEM education optimization is then flagged off with a symbolic distribution of science equipment to schools. The Deputy Governor leaves a charge to the teachers of the benefiting schools to make efforts to utilize the equipment effectively and provide their science students with the necessary scientific knowledge and support to excel in their chosen field of science.
Meanwhile, Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has approved the appointment of Dr. Law Mefor, who has also been sworn in as the new Commissioner for Information. Mr. Mefor replaces Mr. Paul Nwosu, who has moved on after over 10 years of service to the Anambra State government. Mr. Law Mefor is a distinguished academic and public intellectual who holds a PhD in social psychology from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, alongside degrees in general and applied psychology from the University of Jos, among other degrees. He is an educator and media consultant, lecturing for over a decade at the International Institute of Journalism, Abuja. While congratulating him as he assumes his new role, Governor Soludo expressed confidence in Mr. Mefor's ability and extensive experience to strengthen the communication machinery of the state. The new commissioner also pledged to work in consonance with the vision and mission of Governor Soludo.
Because the work ahead is strenuous, and you are called upon to join a team whose agenda is one with a deadline. We've got a deadline with history, we've got a deadline with the data, and this team will work 24/7 to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Anambra State. It is a mission, a job that we applied for, and it's a great place for welcoming you to the team. To inform the people of Anambra and the world, to communicate to them the strategic plan, and help to lead that team on information and communication.
The overall goal of the blueprint of the Soludo administration is to develop Anambra to the point of being a smart city. It's all about technology. All aspects of the life of the state will have to be technology driven, and that is why he keeps saying that the future is technology and innovation, and that is precisely what we have to emphasize. How all aspects, all facets of the Anambra state and society will be able to benefit essentially from all this.
The Imo State government has commenced the training of frontline healthcare personnel on emergency response situations. Now, during the training at the Imo State Primary Healthcare Agency in Owerri, the Imo State capital, the executive secretary of the agency, Dr. Maria Jones Uzoma, says the training, which is in partnership with the Basic Life Support Initiative (NGO), will go a long way in preparing health workers in the state with requisite skills to deal with life-challenging emergency situations when they occur. The Imo State Commissioner for Primary Health Insurance and Social Services, Prosper Success Oyaga, also says the trainers will go ahead to the 27 local governments and secondary schools across the state to pass on the knowledge.
We are privileged to have the Health Emergency Initiative. It's an NGO that came to help us in this state to learn about the skills, what to do when you meet an emergency. And after here, we are going to train the people at the grassroots so that when somebody meets an emergency, be it accident or burn or collapse, they will know what to do while they wait for to take the patient to the hospital.
They are training state trainers that will also train other frontline health workers in being handy during accidents, during emergency cases, and also to take charge during accidents and emergency cases. It's something that is going to turn around the emergency outlook in Imo State, and that's what we are looking at. We are not praying for emergencies, we are not praying for accidents, but peradventure we have such. What do we do? These are the trainers that should do what they ought to do. We are also going to train younger people in secondary schools for them to know how to respond to emergencies.
The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has visited Imo State to inspect a facility which will be used for the training of refugees, migrants and internally displaced persons. Now, speaking to newsmen during the tour of the facility at Nsu community in Ehime Mbano local government area of Imo State, the Federal Commissioner of the agency, Tijani Ahmed, says the training is part of efforts of the federal government to provide skills for not only concerned persons, but also host communities of where the training center will be situated. He says the agency is satisfied with the facility, which used to be the center for the National Open University in the Ehime Mbano local government area.
We in the National Commissions for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, we have what we call arrangement for the preparation of our concerned people in order to provide for them training of different trades. Join us to inspect this very fantastic building provided by the Senator, and of which the National Commissions for Refugees will have a partnership with the Senator in order to provide trade skills for our concerned people, and not only our concerned people, including the host communities. This is specifically why we are here today. We have gone around the building. It is okay for our use. It is okay for what we intend to do, because in the buildings we can have a lot of laboratories where not only the people of concern, including the students around this area, will make use of it in order to provide them with the knowledge of sciences and to develop them into the world.
The National Identity Management Commission in Ebonyi State has called on residents to enroll for their National Identification Number, NIN, which will enable them access various government services and programs. This was made known during the National Day of Identity 2024 campaign in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, with the theme Digital Public Infrastructure Enabling Access to Services.
Officials of the National Identity Management Commission are on the streets of Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, visiting motor parks and marketplaces, as well as various communities, to create awareness on the importance of having a verifiable proof of identity and its role in accessing government services, financial transactions, and other daily activities.
Offices signed everywhere in Ebonyi State. I went when at Centenary City. I offices in banks.
The campaign is part of this year's celebration of the National Day of Identity. While this is observed on September 16 every year, NIMC is stretching the awareness in recognition of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16.9, which is to issue proper identity, including birth registration, to all people around the world by 2030.
The essence of this is to make sure that the whole people in the country, the citizens and legal residents, are registered into the National Identity Database so that we can have everybody. There are so many importance to this. Why? One is that we are being challenged nowadays with insecurity. Then the essence of this registration is that once we get everybody into the NIDB, National Database, then the issue of insecurity will reduce. Then one will be able to access education, one will be able to access any government services, just like what we have in our team today. What we have in our team is a digital public infrastructure, enabling service. So what it means is that once you are registered, then you can now access government services.
The government has the welfare of the people at heart. And that's why basically today, where government has brought rice over 30 metric tons, and they say they are going to give it to individuals and citizens at the cost of 40,000, just to ameliorate our suffering, which is being announced that we are suffering. But the federal government is interested in this welfare, and for us to know who we are, what we are, that's why we need an EIN.
The Commission also announces special plans to reach women and children in rural areas who may have limited access to centers to obtain their identity numbers.
When you establish a woman, you have established a nation. So we cannot neglect them. Of course, we can't take them for granted. We are already on it, and we will do more to make sure that both women, children, men, youth, everybody are captured, including the students.
The Commission's outreach efforts align with this year's theme, Digital Public Infrastructure Enabling Access to Services, which focuses on how digital infrastructure can empower local communities by providing access to essential services, reduce corruption, and enhance transparency.
The Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has reaffirmed his commitment to combat insecurity, revamp social infrastructure, banish poverty, and grow the state's economy exponentially. Governor Mbah stated this in his keynote address at the 2024 Standing Committee meeting of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion holding in Awka, the state capital. While calling on the church to pray for the state and leadership, he also noted that the development of the state will require the commitment of residents who must play their part as a matter of responsibility.
Enugu State is on the verge of launching a real-time platform where round-the-clock surveillance of the entire state is done, incorporating human and artificial intelligence. Development is often a long walk and is akin to a marathon. But we're dashing along its course like a sprint race because we need to take swift and longer strides to bridge development deficits in various sectors. The benefits of these strides are becoming evident as feelings of alienation are banished and enduring inclusion, where no one is left behind in literal sense, finally enjoying the Church of Nigeria to continue to walk in this road with us. The path might seem tortuous sometimes, but the hint of the enormous gains the journey promises outweighs the fleeting discomfort.
Governor Peter Mbande addressing the Anglican Communion of the Church of Nigeria in Enugu, the Enugu state capital. Now, moving on now, the newly posted Commissioner of Police in Ebonyi State, Antonia Uche says she's committed to upholding the rule of law and the protection of lives and property. Uche made this known while addressing a group of journalists at the police headquarters in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi state capital, as she officially resumed duties. While addressing senior officers at the police headquarters, the police commissioner gave an assurance to work in collaboration with sister security agencies to fulfill the mandate given to her by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, even as she seeks the support of stakeholders in discharging her responsibilities. More security matters this time in Abia State, where there's also a new commissioner of police, Danladi Nda, who's calling for the cooperation of residents to ensure the safety and security of citizens in Abia State. He made the call at the police headquarters in Umuahia after taking over the leadership from AIG Kenechukwu Nwemulea, who was recently promoted and redeployed to Zone 13, Maiduguri. Mr. Nda promised to apply intelligence gathering and technology in the tracking and arrest of criminal elements in the state.
To the people of Abia is unwavering, and I am determined to work diligently with all relevant partners, including other security agencies, community leaders, and the public to achieve our shared goal of sustained peace and security. Furthermore, the police under my command will uphold a high standard of civility in our interactions with the public. It is essential that we maintain professionalism, fairness, and impartiality in all our dealings to ensure justice for everyone. Regardless of status or background, we will be both firm and fair, ensuring that the rule of law is upheld without discrimination or favoritism.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Abia State Command says its operatives have rescued 2 young women from a baby factory in Aba, where they were harbored to produce babies for sale. Briefing newsmen on the raid in Umuahia, the Abia State Commandant of the NSCDC, Usman Ishaq Al-Faderi, told journalists that the successful operation was carried out following credible intelligence, and the owner of the baby factory was arrested during the operation. The government of Abia State has continuously solicited the partnership of its citizens, both home and in diaspora, in supporting it to provide the dividends of democracy to the people. This has received backing in Bende local government area, which is empowering the youth, mostly from Abia State, notably members of the NYSC, that's the National Youth Service Corps, who enrolled for 1-month intensive training in various skills and were empowered with the relevant working tools to enable them establish their own businesses. Now, the chairman of Bende and Ohafia local governments commend the initiative by a non-governmental organization as they lament the neglect of vocational schools. Meanwhile, organizers of the training say they drew inspiration by the lack of jobs and employment of many youth, especially those who come out of school without any chance of finding work, despite their good academic qualifications.
You have vocational centers where people go to learn handwork, learn skills. And like you have just rightly pointed out, along the line, it begins to evaporate. It begins to become a thing of the past. So, but when we see things of this nature, it is only re-emphasizing and reinforcing the need for us to reintroduce this into the system. So it's something that can be worked on, and it's something that people like us will push for to make sure that they are reintroduced and see how much it can impact on our people. Because, I mean, there are no white-collar jobs anywhere. So what we can do is to become self-sustenance, entrepreneurship, and that is what it is.
A remarkable initiative, and not only provides individuals with essential skills, but also gives them the tools and the confidence needed to thrive in today's ever-evolving world.
The best education or the best opportunity you can give anyone is to skill the person up, especially at this age and time when regular employment like white collar job has become very difficult to get for young people. So you see students come out of university and they don't have any job, and you see people that do nails, that do hair, that make clothes, and you see them making so much money as and it now looks as if, oh, what's the point of going to school if I'm not going to make money? You see someone with 2-1 with first class. But one time, somebody came to me, a first class student from Futo, no job after how many years, and it broke my heart. Then I said, that if you the same zeal and the same tenacity that you use in having a first class, if you put it in scale, you will make so much money.
And with that, we draw the curtain on Newsroom series. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun.